I honestly didn't think I'd cry that day. I thought maybe I'd feel disappointed, maybe embarrassed, but not this deep. Hollow ache that settled in my chest as I stared at the half-melted unicorn cake and the dozen untouched goodie bags sitting on the table. It was my daughter, Lily's 6th birthday. She'd been talking about it for months. She wanted a unicorn princess theme with rainbow balloons, glitter cupcakes, and a bouncy castle. I'm a single mom, so money's tight, but I saved up for weeks to make it happen. I wanted her to feel celebrated, even if her dad wasn't around anymore, and for once, I thought my family would actually show up. I invited my parents, my 2 brothers, and their families. Everyone said yes. My mom even promised to bring her famous pasta salad, and my older brother Jake swore he'd help set up early. I remember texting them the address and the time twice, just to be sure. They all responded with hearts and can't wait. But when the day came, it was just me, Lily, and a backyard full of decorations waiting for people who never came. Lily looked adorable in her sparkly pink dress and unicorn headband. She was so excited, standing by the gate, clutching a balloon string, asking every few minutes, "Mommy, when is Grandma coming? Is Uncle Jake bringing the presents?" I kept checking my phone. No calls, no messages. Just silence. At first, I made excuses. Maybe traffic. Maybe they forgot the time. But as the clock hit 3 p.m., then 4 p.m., I knew the truth. No one was coming. The only people who showed up were Lily's best friend from preschool and her mom, who brought a small gift and stayed for an hour. I could tell she felt awkward being the only guest, but she was kind enough to help me make it seem fun for the girls. They jumped in the castle, blew bubbles, and sang along to the Frozen soundtrack, smiled and clapped and kept the energy up because I refused to let my daughter's big day be ruined by other people's carelessness. But inside, I was crushed out when the last guest left and Lily went to bed. Still asking if Grandma was coming tomorrow, I sat in the kitchen, staring at the untouched cake. I scrolled through my phone, hoping to see something from my family. Nothing. No texts. No missed calls. Finally, around 9:30 p.m., my mom sent a message. "Sorry, honey, something came up. We'll celebrate another day." That was it. No explanation. No apology for ghosting a 6-year-old's birthday. I wanted to scream. This wasn't the first time they'd done something like this, but it was the first time it had hurt this much. They'd skip things before school plays, Christmas dinners, but this was different. This was my little girl. The next morning, I woke up to Lily sitting at the kitchen table, drawing pictures of the party. In her drawing, all her aunts, uncles, and grandparents were there. She even drew a big smile on Grandma's face. I had to turn away before she saw me tearing up. That day, I promised myself something. I wouldn't let them hurt her like that again. So when my brother called a week later, acting all casual like nothing happened, I already knew it wasn't going to end well. About a week after Lily's birthday disaster, I was finally starting to calm down. I told myself I wouldn't dwell on it anymore. I had work, bills, and a kid who needed me happy, not bitter. Then my phone rang. It was my brother, Jake. Now, Jake and I have always had one of those relationships where you can just tell when he's about to ask for something. His voice gets all nice and smooth, like he's trying to sell you a timeshare. "Hey sis," he said, dragging out the words like we just chatted yesterday. "How are you doing? How's my favorite niece?" I could already feel the irritation bubbling up, but I stayed polite. "We're fine, Jake, what's up?" He gave this fake little chuckle. Just the usual chaos. "Listen, I kinda need a small favor." There it was. I could almost recite the script. "Yeah, I said flatly. "How small?" He hesitated. "Well, not that small. I need to borrow about $1,850. I literally laughed out loud. "You're joking, right?" "No, I'm serious," he said defensively. "My car broke down and we're supposed to go to Mexico next week. We already paid for the flights and the Airbnb, but the mechanic says I need the money up front to fix it." I just sat there, silent for a second, processing the audacity. This man couldn't be bothered to show up for my daughter's birthday or even send a text, but suddenly he remembered I exist when he needs nearly $2,000. So I asked as calmly as I could, "Jake, did you forget about Lily's party?" He sighed like I was the one being unreasonable. "Oh my God, are we really going to do this right now? We had a family emergency that day." "Really?" I said. "Because Mom's text said something came up." That's not an emergency. That's an excuse. He immediately got defensive. You're always so dramatic. It's just a kid's birthday, not a wedding. That line, that single heartless line flipped a switch inside me. It was her sixth birthday, Jake. You all promised you'd be there. You made her wait by the window for hours. And now you think I'm just going to hand you $1,850 like nothing happened? He started raising his voice. Wow, you're really going to let a little party get in the way of helping your own brother? You've always been selfish, you know that? I hung up. I didn't even give him the satisfaction of a response. The next day, my mom called. Of course she did, sweetheart. She started in that tone she uses when she's about to guilt trip me. Your brother told me what happened. You know he's having a rough time right now? Maybe you could just help him out this once. I couldn't believe it. Mom, I'm struggling too. You know that. And besides, none of you even showed up for Lily's party. There was a pause, then she said something that made my jaw drop. Well, we didn't think it would be such a big deal. Kids have birthdays every year. I had to bite my tongue to stop myself from screaming. It's not about the party, Mom. It's about the fact that you all didn't care enough to show up for her. And now, a week later, you're asking me for money like nothing happened. She sighed loudly. You've changed. Ever since you started living on your own, you've become so cold. No, Mom, I said quietly. I've just stopped letting people take advantage of me. Then I ended the call. That night, I lay awake thinking about all the times I bailed them out. Jake's rent when he got fired. Mom's emergency dental work. Even my dad's overdue property tax. I'd done it all without question because I believed family helped family, but what kind of family only calls when they need something? So when Jake texted the next day saying, "You'll regret this," I really needed that money. I ignored it. I didn't know it then, but that text was just the beginning. Because a few days later, I'd find out just how far my family was willing to go to punish me for saying no. 3 days passed after I told my brother no, and I was honestly feeling proud of myself. Normally, I'd cave. Guilt, manipulation, family pressure. I'd been through that cycle 100 times. But not this time. This time, I stood my ground until the knock on my door. It was a Saturday morning. Lily was watching cartoons in the living room while I was making pancakes. Then came a loud, deliberate knock. Not a friendly one, the kind that makes your stomach tighten before you even open the door. When I peeked through the peephole, my heart dropped. 2 uniformed police officers were standing outside. I opened the door cautiously. Can I help you?" The older officer spoke first. "Ma'am, are you my name?" "Yes. We received a report of a possible financial dispute involving you and a family member," he said. I blinked, confused. "I'm sorry, what?" He pulled out a small notepad. "A Mr. Jake last name filed a complaint claiming you're in possession of $1,850 that belongs to him." I swear, I almost laughed right there on the spot. "Wait, you mean my brother called the police because I didn't give him money?" The younger officer looked like he was trying not to smile. "We're just following up on the report, ma'am. He claims he sent you the money through an app and that you refused to return it." That's when it hit me. Jake had gone full psycho. I grabbed my phone, opened my banking app, and showed them. There's no transfer, no receipt, no transaction from him. He never sent me a dime. He just asked me for money, and I said no. They both glanced at each other. The older one sighed. "Ma'am, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. It looks like a misunderstanding. We'll file a note to close it out." I forced a smile. "Thank you, officers. But it's not a misunderstanding, it's harassment." They nodded politely and left as soon as the door shut. My hands started shaking. Not from fear, but from pure anger. I couldn't believe my brother had actually tried to weaponize the police to intimidate me into paying him. Lily came into the kitchen a few minutes later, holding her stuffed unicorn. "Mommy, who was that?" I took a deep breath, crouched down, and said, "Just some people who knocked on the wrong door, sweetheart." But inside, I was done. I was so done. I texted Jake immediately. "You called the police on me? Over money you never even sent? You're sick." He responded within seconds. "You brought this on yourself. If you'd helped your family when we needed it, none of this would have happened." I couldn't even find words. I just blocked his number. Then, not even an hour later, my mom called again. "Sweetheart," she began, voice trembling in that fake "I'm worried about you" way she uses when she's trying to manipulate me. "Why did you call the police on Jake?" I actually laughed out loud. I didn't call them, Mom. He called them on me. Oh, come on, she said, her tone hardening. You must have done something. He wouldn't lie. That was it. The final straw. Mom, he filed a false report against me because I refused to give him money. And you're still defending him? You're making a mountain out of a molehill, she said sharply. Jake's under a lot of stress. Then maybe he should see a therapist instead of a mechanic in Mexico. I snapped out. She gasped, offended. You've changed. You used to be kind. No, Mom, I said quietly. I used to be a doormat. I hung up and sat on the couch, shaking with adrenaline. Every memory came flooding back. All the times they'd used me. All the times I'd been made to feel guilty for saying no. All the times I'd been the responsible one, cleaning up everyone else's mess. But this was different. They'd involved the police. They'd tried to humiliate me, Dot, and if they wanted to play games, fine. I could play too, but I'd play smarter. I opened my laptop and started typing out a detailed email to the police department, attaching screenshots of my brother's texts, the call logs, and a brief statement about his false report. I wasn't going to let this slide. If Jake wanted to escalate things, I was more than ready to finish them. After the police left and I sent my follow-up email, I honestly thought it would end there. That Jake would realize how insane he looked and back off. Oh, how wrong I was. By Monday morning, my phone was blowing up. Texts, calls, voicemails, mostly from family. Apparently, Jake had started spinning a brand new story about me. According to him, I stole his money, lied to the police, and disrespected the entire family by making him look bad. He said I'd been bitter ever since the divorce and was taking it out on everyone. By lunchtime, even my aunt, who lives 3 states away, was messaging me things like, "You really should apologize to your brother. Family's all you've got." It was like a group delusion had set in overnight. Nobody bothered to ask for my side, and honestly, I shouldn't have been surprised. My family has always had a golden child, Jake. He can do no wrong, ever. When he dropped out of college, he's just figuring himself out. When he got arrested for drunk driving 5 years ago, he made a mistake. But when the responsible one, the single mom who works 2 jobs and never asks for anything, say, no, suddenly I'm the villain. I kept ignoring the messages, hoping it would blow over. But then it escalated again. My mom showed up. I was putting Lily to bed when I heard her knocking on the door. Hard, persistent. I opened it, already tense. "Mom, it's 9 p.m. What are you doing here?" She walked in like she owned the place, clutching her purse and shaking her head. "This has gone too far, my name. Jake's been crying all day. He's humiliated. You called the police on him?" I folded my arms. "Mom, he called them on me. He made a false report, and now he's trying to make me look crazy for defending myself." She sat down at the kitchen table and sighed dramatically. "You used to have such a good heart. I don't know what happened, really," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Because what happened is that I stopped letting people use me. I'm not your emergency fund. I'm not Jake's ATM, and I'm not going to apologize for protecting myself." She frowned, her eyes narrowing. "So you're really just going to throw your family away over a little misunderstanding?" "A little misunderstanding?" I laughed bitterly. "He filed a false police report against me, Mom. That's not a misunderstanding. That's illegal." She stood up, glaring at me. "You've become so disrespectful. Your brother is going through a rough time. You have no idea what it's like to struggle." I snapped. "No idea what it's like to struggle? Mom, I work 50 hours a week to keep a roof over my daughter's head. I make every birthday, every doctor's appointment, every school event, alone. Don't you dare stand in my kitchen and tell me I don't know what struggle is." She looked stunned for a second. Then, without another word, she grabbed her purse and left. That night, I finally did something I should have done years ago. I blocked every single one of them. My mom, my brothers, my aunts, everyone. I didn't want to hear another word. For a few days, it was quiet. Blissfully quiet. Lily and I got back into our routine pancakes in the morning, bedtime stories at night. I started sleeping better until an envelope showed up in my mailbox. It was from Jake's lawyer. Inside was a typed letter claiming that I owed Jake $1,850, plus damages for defamation of character. Apparently, he was threatening to take me to small claims court if I didn't resolve this privately. I laughed so hard I actually scared my cat, but instead of panicking, I did something different this time. I gathered every bit of evidence I had, the police report closure note, screenshots of Jake's messages, my call logs, and a timeline of every interaction since the birthday. Then I forwarded all of it to his lawyer, who turned out to be his wife pretending to be one. Yes, seriously. The email domain was a free Gmail account with her name on it. I replied, "If you contact me again pretending to be legal counsel, I'll include impersonation in my police report. Have a wonderful day." They went silent after that, but karma wasn't done with them yet. A few weeks later, I got a message from a mutual friend. Apparently, Jake's Mexico trip had fallen apart. His car actually did break down, the trip was non-refundable, and he lost his job because he didn't show up for his shifts, and my mom, she'd finally had to face the fact that her golden boy wasn't the victim she thought he was, but the real payoff, the real karma, was still to come. For a while, I thought it was over. After calling out Jake's fake lawyer, blocking my family, and sending the police report documentation, I figured they'd finally leave me alone, but that would have been too easy. A few weeks later, strange things started happening. My coworker pulled me aside one morning and asked if I was okay. When I asked why, she looked uncomfortable and said, "Someone messaged me on Facebook saying you're being investigated for fraud." I froze. What? She showed me the message. A random account with no profile picture, claiming I had scammed a family member out of money and lied to police to cover it up. The writing style was familiar. Too familiar. Jake. I felt my stomach twist. My family drama was one thing, but this was him trying to sabotage my job. I immediately reported the fake account and had it taken down. But within days, 2 more popped up. One even tagged my employer's page with a comment saying, "Why do you hire thieves?" I wanted to scream. I knew exactly what was happening. Jake couldn't handle the embarrassment of being exposed, so now he was trying to destroy me in any way he could. But what hurt most wasn't him. It was the silence from the rest of my family. Not one person reached out to ask if it was true. Not my mom, not my dad, not even my cousins. They all just vanished. For a few nights, I sat on my couch after putting Lily to bed, scrolling through the messages and fake posts, just feeling this mix of rage and disbelief. My hands would literally shake. I kept hearing my mom's voice in my head. "He's going through a rough time." So apparently, going through a rough time now meant harassing your sister online. Then one afternoon, I got a text from my cousin, Sarah, one of the few decent people in the family. "Hey, I think you should know that Jake and your mom are talking a lot of crap about you in the family group chat. They said you called CPS on him and that you're unstable." That one hit hard. "Wait," I typed back. "They said I called CPS?" "Yeah. Mom said you're trying to get Jake's kids taken away because you're jealous he's still married." I had to laugh at that one because the sheer absurdity was unreal. I was a single mom trying to stay afloat, and they were painting me as some vindictive lunatic. But I didn't take the bait. I didn't defend myself. Instead, I told Sarah, "Keep the screenshots. Don't say anything. Just keep watching." Because I had a plan. If Jake wanted to destroy me publicly, I'd let him keep digging that hole while I collected everything. Every fake profile, every slanderous message, every text from Mom trying to guilt me into silence, and he made it easy. The man couldn't shut up. He even sent me a message from an unknown number that said, "You can block me all you want, but everyone knows who you really are now." I saved it, screenshotted it, and forwarded it to myself. The next day, I stopped by the police department and asked to speak to the same officer who'd visited my house weeks ago. I showed him everything, the messages, the accounts, the impersonation attempts. He remembered the situation instantly. "This looks like harassment and defamation," he said. "You've got a solid case. We can file a formal report." I nodded. "Do it." He asked if I wanted to press charges. I told him not yet. I just wanted a record, proof that I'd been targeted. Because what I was planning next didn't need to come from anger. It needed to come from precision. When I got home, Lily ran up to me with a drawing. It was of the 2 of us, holding hands in front of a rainbow. She'd written "me and Mommy" in big uneven letters. It broke me a little, because while I was fighting off lies and police reports, she was just living in her own little world, innocent, happy, safe. I looked at that picture for a long time and whispered to myself, "This ends soon." Jake had made a mess of my name. He wanted attention. He was about to get it, but not the kind he wanted. After the false police report and the chaos that followed, I thought the storm would calm down. But it didn't. It only evolved. A week after cutting off contact, I started noticing whispers among neighbors. My daughter's school friend's mom suddenly stopped talking to me. Another parent sent me a screenshot of something my own brother had posted online. It was a long, self-pitying paragraph about how some people only care about money and how he'd been betrayed by his own sister, who refused to help when his child was sick. He even attached a picture of his kid in a hospital bed, an old one, from when the boy had his tonsils out. Nothing serious. But he knew how to play on people's emotions. Comments poured in. How could anyone turn their back on family? She must have a cold heart. What goes around comes around. And just like that, my reputation, the one I had quietly built for years as a reliable, kind single mom, was under attack. Even my boss heard about it. He asked me privately if everything was okay, because someone claiming to be your brother sent him an email about how I owe him money. That's when I knew Jake had crossed the final line. I didn't cry this time. I didn't beg or explain. I got organized. I spent an entire evening pulling up every message, every call log, and every text. Screenshots of him asking for $1,850 for car repairs, not hospital bills. Screenshots of mom saying, just give it to him, he struggles. Screenshots of him threatening to call the cops if I didn't. I printed it all. I compiled it like a case file, because that's exactly what it was. Then I wrote my own post. Calm, detailed, no exaggeration, no name calling. Just the truth. I posted everything with timestamps, screenshots, and the full story of how my family ghosted my daughter's birthday, asked me for money, and filed a false police report. Within hours, it exploded. People who'd seen Jake's post started tagging him, asking why he'd lied. Some even commented under his post with screenshots of my evidence. By the end of the day, Jake had turned off comments and deleted everything. Mom called me that night. Her voice trembled. Why would you post all that? You embarrass the family. I laughed, a cold, tired laugh. You let him lie about me to my friends, my boss, and even the police. You called me a bad sister. Now everyone just sees the truth. She started crying, saying, you went too far. I said, no, Mom. He went too far. I just stopped covering for him. Then I hung up. The next few days were eerily quiet. Jake didn't call. Neither did my mom, but other people did. My aunt from Florida, the one who hadn't spoken to me in years, messaged me saying she believed every word. That Jake had pulled similar stunts before, borrowing money and never returning it. Then came the twist I didn't expect. Someone from Jake's workplace saw my post. Apparently, he had borrowed money from a coworker too, and claimed his evil sister was supposed to pay him back. When they saw my screenshots, everything clicked. A few days later, I heard Jake got suspended for conduct unbecoming. It wasn't my doing. It was karma doing its quiet work. Still, I didn't feel happy, just relieved. The kind of relief that comes after years of walking on eggshells finally ends. I deleted the post after 3 days. It had done its job. People apologized. Some even reached out to say they admired my restraint, but I didn't lash out, just calmly presented facts. Lily noticed the difference too. Mom, she said, you seem lighter now. I smiled. That's because I stopped letting people make me feel guilty for telling the truth. For the first time in a long time, I slept peacefully, no anxiety about family drama, no phone buzzing at midnight. Just quiet, but karma wasn't finished with Jake yet. Because when you spend years burning bridges, one day, you run out of places to stand, and I was about to find out that his fall had only just begun. A month passed after I posted the screenshots. I thought everything had settled, that the truth had finally put an end to the drama. But karma was just getting started. One morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Normally, I ignore those, but something told me to pick up. It was Jake's ex-girlfriend, Amanda. Her voice was shaky but controlled. Hey, I saw your post a while back. I just wanted to say you did the right thing. I thanked her, but before I could hang up, she continued. You might want to know. Jake's in trouble. Real trouble. Apparently, after losing his job, Jake had tried starting some freelance car repair business out of his garage. Except as it turned out, he didn't actually fix cars. He took deposits from clients, cash up front, and then disappeared. Within weeks, people started reporting him. Small claims court, fraud complaints. Even the local news picked it up. And here's the part that still makes me shake my head. He had the audacity to tell people, I set him up. Then I ruined his career out of jealousy. But this time, no one believed him. The screenshots had already made the rounds. His coworkers, his neighbors, even his landlord had seen them. His credibility was gone. Meanwhile, my mom finally reached out again. She texted me first, something simple, like, Jake's having a rough time. You should talk to him. I ignored it for days. Then she called, crying. He might go to jail. You can't just let that happen. That's when I realized, even after everything, she still couldn't see Jake for who he was. She wasn't crying because of what he did. She was crying because the consequences had finally arrived. Mom, I said calmly, Jake did this to himself. I didn't ruin his life. He did. You can't keep blaming me every time his lies catch up with him. She started to protest, but I didn't let her. Do you remember when Lily's party happened? When no one came? That's the day I realized something, that our family doesn't show up for me unless they need something. That's not love, Mom. That's manipulation. There was silence on the other end. Then a soft sniffle. I didn't think it was that bad, she whispered. It was worse, I said. For the first time, she didn't argue. She just hung up. Over the next few weeks, little pieces of information started reaching me, through friends, through neighbors, through the grapevine that always seems to thrive on gossip. Jake had lost his car. The same car he wanted me to lend him $1,850 to fix. Repoed. He got evicted. His garage business had tanked completely. And apparently he was living with a friend, sleeping on a couch, complaining that everyone turned on him. I didn't celebrate. I didn't mock him. But I won't lie, there was a certain peace in seeing how life balanced itself out, because I didn't have to do anything. I didn't need revenge. The truth was enough. One evening, I was sitting with Lily, watching her draw. She looked up and said, Mom, do we have to invite everyone next time? I smiled softly. No, baby. Next time, we only invite the people who show up. That simple line stuck with me. And in a strange way, I was thankful. Thankful that my daughter learned early what took me decades to realize, that family isn't about blood. It's about effort, respect, and love. Since then, I've rebuilt my life in peace. I focused on my work, on Lily, and on finding friends who felt like real family. People who checked on me because they wanted to, not because they needed something. And as for Jake, well, he stopped contacting me altogether. Even Mom eventually stopped defending him when his name came up. She started visiting more, spending time with Lily, slowly rebuilding what was left of our relationship. She still avoids mentioning Jake, maybe out of guilt, maybe out of shame. Either way, I let it go. Because forgiveness, I realized, isn't for the person who wronged you. It's for your own freedom. And I had finally set myself free. But just when I thought the chapter was closed, something unexpected happened. One last twist that truly sealed Jake's fate. And made me believe karma doesn't miss. It had been about 6 months since everything blew up. The police. The lies, the social media mess, the family drama. By now, I'd learned how to live without the constant background noise of guilt and manipulation. Life was peaceful. Lily was thriving. She was doing great in school, laughing more, sleeping better. And so was I started going to therapy, not because I was falling apart, but because I wanted to understand why I tolerated so much pain from people who were supposed to love me. And what I learned changed everything. My therapist told me, sometimes we confuse loyalty with self-sacrifice. You can love someone and still keep them far away from your peace. That sentence became my mantra, but karma wasn't quite finished with Jake yet. It started with a message from my cousin, who lived in another city. She texted me, hey, not sure if you heard, but Jake's in a lot of trouble again. I rolled my eyes at first, figured it was another one of his classic dramas. But then she sent me a screenshot of a local news story. Local man accused of defrauding customers through fake repair business. My heart dropped. There it was. Jake's name, his mugshot, the whole thing. The article said he'd been taking deposits for prepaid auto services and never doing the work. He'd been caught because someone recorded him, promising repairs that never happened, and the police had finally got enough evidence to charge him with fraud. For once, I didn't feel anger. I just felt clarity. This was the end of a cycle that had gone on for years. He'd been given chances, by me, by Mom, by life itself. And he wasted every one of them. Mom called later that night. Her voice was small, quiet, like she was afraid to be herself. He's in jail, she said softly. I don't even know what to say. I didn't gloat. I didn't say I told you so. I just sighed and said, maybe this is what he needed to finally stop blaming everyone else. She cried. Do you hate him? That question hit me deep. Because for so long, I had hated him, the lies, the manipulation, the way he humiliated me. But now, no, I said. I don't hate him anymore. I just don't care to carry it. She went quiet, then whispered, "You're stronger than me." Maybe I was. Or maybe I just had enough. A few weeks later, Mom came over for dinner. She brought Lily a small gift, a handmade bracelet that said loved. Lily beamed and said, "Grandma, are you coming to my next birthday this year?" Mom's eyes softened and she nodded. Wouldn't miss it for the world. And for once, I believed her. When Lily's next birthday came around, the house was filled with laughter, not noise, not forced smiles, but genuine joy. I'd invited a few close friends, some kind neighbors, and Mom. We baked cupcakes together. Lily got her first bike. It wasn't extravagant, but it was perfect. As I stood there watching her blow out the candles, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Real quiet, earned peace, because after everything, the ghosted party, the lies, the police, the betrayal, I had built something better, not revenge. Not even justice. Just peace. And that's the thing no one ever tells you. Karma doesn't always show up as thunder and lightning. Sometimes it just gives you your life back, without the people who tried to ruin it. A few months later, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Jake. I stared at the envelope for a long time before opening it. The handwriting was sloppy, rushed. Inside was a short note. "I messed up. I know you don't owe me anything, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Tell Lily I'm sorry too. Maybe when I get out, we can talk." I folded the letter carefully and placed it in a drawer. Not out of anger, but because I didn't need closure anymore. He was finally facing the consequences of every choice he made. And I had finally learned how to stop trying to save people who didn't want to be saved. That night, I sat on the porch while Lily rode her bike in circles, her laughter echoing in the cool evening air. And for the first time, I didn't feel like the girl who was ghosted by her own family. I felt like a woman who had finally chosen herself. Karma had done its work, quietly, fairly, completely, and I didn't need revenge. I just needed peace. The end.